All right, here we go. Welcome to Shift Happens, the show where we talk with the people building, breaking, and rebuilding the systems behind the scenes at high growth startups. We love talking about fails and chaos because it's better than any school. I'm your host, Kelly Burdine, and today we're talking with Rodrigo Fernandez-Baon. He is the head of growth marketing at Neural Trust AI. And we're going to talk about some fabulous wins they've had and the scrambles it's caused behind closed doors, as well as how they're dealing with those now and any other fun discoveries that come up in conversation. So let's get to it. Rodrigo, where are you joining us from today?
Hi, Kelly. First of all, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to share all I can about our process. I'm in Barcelona right now. It's where our headquarters are. But we travel a lot, you know how it gets. So I'm usually also in London, in New York, whatever the occasion requires.
That's fabulous. My son just got back from a trip over there. He was in Barcelona, London, and Morocco, and he's checking out schools, and he loved it. And I think he loved discovering the all-night clubs in Barcelona as well. So you were the first marketing hire at Neural Trust, and now you're more or less 20 people deep. When you look back, what were you wildly unprepared for?
Yes, so to provide a bit of context, first of all, before I joined Neural Trust, I used to work at a marketing agency. I was mostly on top of the SEO optimization for some of our clients and content creation. And yes, I was the first marketing hire, and for some time I was the only marketing hire at all, because you know how it is. No, at fast-growing startups, usually small teams have to do a lot of work. So at the beginning, I was by myself doing most of the heavy lifting. But I would say one of the greatest challenges was building a brand from the beginning, because when I joined Neural Trust, no one knew about us. No one knew what we were building. We had zero presence in social media and zero presence online through our website. So the challenge was big, but we started, first of all, building a very good website from scratch. I had built previously some websites for different kinds of projects, but seeing firsthand how it's like to build a website this time was one of the biggest challenges that I encountered. Also, I have to say that the context for optimization right now is very complicated, because we have traditional SEO for traditional search engines like Google, for example. But we're now also trying to optimize for new search engines like chatbots, and this has certainly been a challenge. It's still a challenge as of today. It's something that we're still trying to improve. But yeah, that was something that is hard to be prepared for, I would say. Even though you have some good background, the context right now in this sector is very, very complicated.
Yeah, it's not boring.
No, not at all. You have to be on top of news all the time. And in the end, the thing that we see firsthand, anyone that is working right now in the marketing or SEO sector, is that there's no playbook. No, we're building the playbook as we go. And yeah, you have to try to learn from people that are experimenting, and also experiment yourself.
Yeah, it's makes you feel alive, doesn't it?
Certainly.
When you when you first joined, what part of the job did you think would be simple? Like, you came from marketing, you've got a great background. You're like, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do this. And then it turned out to be a whole thing that you were just, oh, this is new.
Yeah, I think it's related to what I have explained. No, like building the website from scratch, you also have to build a content machine, no, and start to generate content. And yeah, to be honest, I didn't have a lot of experience in the cybersecurity sector, which is a complicated sector. It's like trying to be on top of this kind of content was very difficult at the beginning, but it's also been an amazing opportunity for myself, to learn a lot about how things are evolving. And it's very good because we're with the revolution of AI, we've had like a new opportunity for content to be created about specifically cybersecurity for AI, which is what we do. And I think it's been very interesting, trying to create thought leadership about something that there's not really much content at all being created. So that was also the challenge, but also the opportunity that we had.
You're doing a fantastic job from what I've seen out there. People talk about now being AI native. What does that actually mean in real life on a random Tuesday?
Yeah, for me, being AI native is mostly about how you tackle problems. No, I think to a certain extent, it's a mindset that you have to create. Whenever you encounter something that you don't know how to do, someone AI native will have a variety of tools at hand to try to tackle this problem, and also try to think how can AI help you, in any kind of situation. I think partly it's something that you can do yourself through experimenting. Like, for example,
Yeah.
prompting. I think it's something that everyone does, but everyone can still certainly improve.
Yeah.
Because through better prompts, you can certainly obtain better results and certainly have
Garbage in,
AI
garbage
helping
out,
you.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also like the tools that you use. I think being a native requires for you to be trying all of the new tools that are out there and all of the tools that are offering good results as of today. And this is like a lot of work, because you have new tools coming out nearly nearly every day. So you have to be trying tools and kind of keeping the ones that really help you and scraping the ones that don't. So for me, AI native is something that requires a lot of work. Even though AI can help you to certainly be much, much more productive, being on top of all of the tools and being on top of how they are used requires certainly a lot of effort.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of energy. And I can see from the material that you're producing and all the events you're out there doing that you're just eating it right up. In your company, what do you find something that you still insist that the humans do themselves, even though AI could do it?
The first thing that comes to mind for me here is writing. As a bit of context, I am a published author myself. I wrote a book a
Mm-hmm.
couple of years ago, right before the AI revolution. So I had to write it myself from the beginning to the end.
Imagine that.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine now. But having read a lot and having written a lot myself, I think that writing is something that AI can certainly help you. And AI is really good at giving you ideas about how to write. But I really recommend every one of my teammates and everyone I talk with to continue writing themselves on the first hand, because otherwise you will forget how to write. And it's a very, very useful skill. And secondly, because I think that if you are someone that is very connected with all of the content that is being created today, you can tell if the content is absolutely generated by AI or if there's someone behind of it. And for me, having someone behind of the content is something that once you can tell it, you connect much more with what you're reading, If you, for example, a LinkedIn post or an email, if you see that someone used a chatbot to write it immediately, then your subconscious is absolutely disconnected with the message of the text, and it's not going to have any effect. Otherwise, if you feel like the person really put the time into choosing the words carefully and also giving some personality to the text, because let's not forget that writing is also a lot about giving your own part about what you create, no? And AI has some risk because it offers an absolute vanilla version of content, You don't have
Yeah.
any tone, you don't have any particular expressions that are related to how you write and how you communicate. So
Yeah.
absolutely for me, the key here is to continue writing as much as possible.
I think that's brilliant. We have to retain that meaning and the personal stories behind things and connection. Otherwise, what do we have, right? So I think you're on the right track there. Can you think of a recent moment where things got really good, but they almost went from, wow, this is exciting, to, oh shit.
Yeah, I think whenever you're growing fast, these kind of moments happen every now and then.
Yeah.
And they certainly help you to learn a lot. For us, I think one of the more clear examples of this happening was when we had some major recognition or some major wins that got covered across media. At the beginning, you're very excited, of course, because as a marketing leader, you manage to get people to talk about you and to want to talk with you, which is usually very hard in current days with so much information and so many
But
people
yeah.
competing for everyone's attention. So that's something that you absolutely feel very happy about. But the thing that happens absolutely like exactly next to it is an inbound spike that can sometimes be overwhelming, Like
Yeah.
whenever you manage to crack the virality loop, it's so exciting, but it's also quite stressful because you want to offer the best of you to all of the people that are reaching out. And if you haven't planned things properly, it can be very hard. No? For example, if you want to answer to all of the potential clients, to all of the reporters, to all of the AI advocates that are suddenly talking about you, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure. So, given that you've had a couple of experiences like that already, and now I think you mentioned that you have shifted from reactive to proactive planning to handle those temporary spikes. What does that proactive planning look like for you guys on a day-to-day basis?
Yes. So I think here when we started to learn about how to do things better was the first time that we managed to achieve this. So to provide a little bit of context, our AI research team managed to jailbreak one of the most relevant models at the time, which was GPT-5. And we created basically a new type of attack that was immediately featured across media outlets all around the world. And everyone was talking about it in Twitter, in
It's so
LinkedIn.
cool.
It was something that we didn't expect that it was going to be that big, like we of course wanted for it to be something big, but we didn't expect it was going to be so big. So that time we were absolutely overwhelmed by the amount of reactions and the amount of inbound that we got. And what I think that we did do very well is to learn from that experience and document the process. So for future occasions, we will be better prepared. And yeah, I think the key here is to plan beforehand as much as possible. And the more time you can devote to planning, the better the outcome is going to be. In general, in anything, but specifically when you're planning a high impact campaign, it's very important that you have everything very clearly planned. And what it looks like is usually some, for example, Coda or Notion documents where we have like a step-by-step and like a chronology of how things are going to happen. Also, if you can already prepare like LinkedIn comments, LinkedIn posts, if you can already have everything programmed and ready to go once the different milestones start to take place, this is certainly going to help you to be much more capable of reacting to what's going to happen.
Right, right. This, yes, you have to walk in just expecting that everyone's going to want a piece of you and have it all ready to go. So when you're scripting all of that up and getting it all ready, you've mentioned Coda, things like that. What other tools or workflows are handling that heavy lifting, once it all gets started?
Yes, so we use a variety of tools from external providers, but also we have developed our own tools for these kind of things. If you have some developer experience or you have some developer that can help and support the go-to-market team, this is going to make a key difference today. So, for example, we have some tools to schedule and plan outreach and content publications for any of the social media platforms that we're working with. We also use, of course, CRMs like HubSpot. We use all of the classical tools that are like, for example, SEMrush, all of the analytics platforms that you can use to see the impact and to be on top of everything. And of course, as I mentioned, AI itself, we use all of the chatbots out there, basically because each of the chatbot is good at something. So, for example, let's say ChatGPT, it's really good at solving some complex queries.
Yeah.
While, for example, Grok is excellent at solving fast questions and offering fast results. Gemini, for example, is really good with content, with writing text. I think it's one of the best out there. So I think the key here is to use each tool and each chatbot to what it's best at, and try to combine them without going crazy, because if you have too many tools, you can sometimes be overwhelmed too, and it's not going to be very helpful. Also, recently we've started to experiment with AI browsers. I don't know if people are already doing this, but they offer some very, very interesting results. Basically, they are the first big look we have into autonomous systems operating for you. I think they are not completely autonomous. They are like semi-autonomous, but it's certainly how the industry is going to be moving towards next year. So AI agents are going to be the big thing, and leveraging AI agents is something that we are starting to do, and I think everyone should try to do, because it's the next revolution. No, we've had the LLM and chatbot revolution happening over the last year or two, and next year is all going to be about agents. People are already talking about the year of the agents.
Yeah, for sure. It's, us as humans, most of us are really bright and we get so bogged down in doing things that are kind of a waste of our good, brain cells. And if that can be picked up and enable us to do bigger, better things, then, I'm all for that. In all of this process behind the scenes, what still ends up living in people's heads instead of in the system, are you finding?
Yeah, so I think the know-how is something that usually people have a hard time in integrating into a platform or sharing with the rest of the team. So this is something that we're working very hard to do next year and to start to do from right now, which is documenting everything very clearly, so everyone is on the same page about what we're doing. And if someone is away or someone gets replaced, you can still have access to the things that this person has learned and the things that this person has discovered. also, whenever you find something that is very useful and very relevant, we share it with the rest of the team immediately. And having good communication with your team, I think it's amazing. For example, in my personal experience, I'm of course more oriented towards marketing and growth, but being really in touch with my developers, no, and some of the AI researchers in my team has helped me to implement some of their know-how into some of the things that I do in my day to day. So whenever you can have the chance of blending, no, and implementing the different kinds of knowledge each person has in the company, I think it's an amazing opportunity to grow. For example, I'm also helping the dev team with more go-to-market oriented activities.
Yeah. Okay. So do you ever see your team is expanding and you're documenting things as you go along? How do you ensure that the context and the data doesn't get lost like between systems as especially during a high volume spike like that?
Yes. I think here the key for all of the tools that you use and for all the processes that you implement is having some very clear traceability. So, for example, no, whenever we see our mentions online, we have a variety of tools that clearly no show us when we were mentioned online, at what time exactly. So you can go back and collect this information and optimize it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I would think it's key that you don't have too many places where information goes. For example, use a CRM like HubSpot and a documentation tool like Notion or Coda and stick with those. Don't try to
Keep it
also
simple.
use
Yeah.
if you start also using like Slack documents and Google documents and PowerPoints, things can start to get messy and you lose information in the process. I think no matter the size of the company, this is something that is happening everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you can keep things as centralized as possible, this is certainly going to help you not to lose some valuable information.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything that the team still does, like coordinates manually that kind of surprises you?
Yeah, I was thinking about this because being a really like tech company, we try to minimize as much as possible these kind of processes. But for example, I was thinking, no, like any of the onboarding processes and any of the, for example, special events that we organize inside of the company, they still require a lot of human and traditional effort, especially because I think that we shouldn't go crazy about automating everything. I think that it's good that, for example, whenever you do an onboarding, it's good that you have to talk with the person that is coming to the company, dedicate some time into teaching them what you know, what they have to do in the company. If you can have as much data as possible to help this person with the process, of course, it's great. It's great. But I think it's good that companies still keep some things the traditional way, at least in my opinion. No, maybe if you scale very, very fast and you become a huge company, it starts to be harder. No, but I've heard, for example, like really large companies that they do onboardings of 20 or 30 people at the same time. I mean, this might work, but if you, in my opinion, if you want to do things properly, I think it's good that you can have one conversations as much as possible. And the same goes whenever you're planning, like some special event for the company, whenever you're doing like a team building activity. Of course, you can automate things, but if you can keep it as human as possible, I think some things are supposed to stay like that.
Yeah. What, when everything's going crazy and you guys get super busy, what do you personally do? Rodrigo, in your own personal time planning, personal coping, what do you do when everything feels priority number one all at one time?
I mean, I would love to say that I have some magic method, but in the end, it's sometimes very chaotic and you end up working long hours and really having to put a lot of effort into it. But I think it's very important to keep always very clear what are the priorities.
Yeah.
So myself, I'm like a very ambitious person and you want to give your 100% effort to everything you do, but you sometimes have to be capable of knowing that it's impossible. And if you need to push things later, it's not the end of the world. You have to be very clear on what is very important and what is not that important. But yeah, I think I still have room for improvement in this
God, don't we all? But your energy is infectious, and so I know you can handle it. Let's think about this. When you look 12 months out, a year down the road from now, future you, what is one operational challenge that you really want to stop thinking about?
Yeah, so I think it's related to what we were talking at the beginning. So being a small team, it's sometimes very hard to be on top of everything. And I would
Mm-hmm.
love if by the next months we can have some tools, for example, like some agents on top of things like website optimization and SEO optimization. I'm sure people are already building this, and there are some products out there. I still need to experiment with them, but certainly it's something that I feel like it still takes a lot of my time, and it would be amazing if we could have tools that were doing this for you. So I'm talking about like all of the front end and back end optimizations that still require a lot of manual tasks and still require to do things by hand. If we can
Yeah,
move towards optimizing this, that would be certainly very useful.
that's a
And
great
yeah,
idea.
also like when it comes to major launches, I think it's something that in the next 12 months I want to be able of having as many things as possible that are orchestrated, no, and running in an automated way, of course keeping the human touch in the important things, but being capable, no, to scale very, very fast. Also like at a specific context where we're at right now, so we in the last year, no, grew from being like 6 people to being more than 20.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the next 12 months, we're going to be more than 40. It's hard to tell, no? Like things change very fast. But I think it's important, no, that while we are growing very fast, that we manage to be on top of everything and don't lose control of the important processes and operations. I think this is a challenge for any company that goes from this very, very fast growth spurs to keep things control and to keep things working correctly. Also, something that we're going to be seeing in the next months is as we onboard a lot of new people, how to make sure that the knowledge of the original team is very effectively shared with everyone that arrives, and we don't rely on always having the founding team on top of everything. These are the
Yeah.
challenges that I envision to be taking place over the next year.
Yeah, you're just not gonna at some point that's not sustainable. You're not gonna be able to be that for everybody. So
Of course.
great. Well, this has been really, really insightful. And again, I'm really hoping that our listeners can be inspired by your energy and your curiosity and the way you're just, running headfirst into everything. So tell us a little bit as we close up here, where can people follow what you're building? Are there any upcoming events that you'll
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure to share what I have been discovering over the last year in Neural Trust. I think the best place where you can find me and where you can contact me is LinkedIn. I'm very active there, and it's where we're trying to document the whole journey of the company. So yeah, feel free to reach out. Sometimes I'm overloaded by all of the people trying to reach out, but as much as possible, I really like having the chance to talk with people out there, help wherever I can, and yeah, having conversations with other people, no, in my sector or in other sectors is always so useful in both ways that I think I always want to keep doing that. And if you're very curious about what we're building, also visit our website and our blog where we're uploading all of the content we're working on. And if you're more interested in what I'm writing myself, you can find me in Medium and Substack.
Yeah, I read a couple of your articles. They're so good. They're so good. This has been great. And I am taking you up on your offer when I move to Spain next year to get a tour. I want to see what Neural Trust is doing as well. And then, kind of the more extended business community over there. Be really interested in joining that. So
Absolutely. Let's stay in touch. And I'm more than happy to show you around when you're here.
I look forward to it. Okay. Well, thank you.